Does Kingsley Suamataia need to be replaced? Can Xavier Worthy recapture the lightning that he had in week one? These are two of the questions that we will approach in the weekly edition of Rookie Recap. Welcome to the channel where we talk about only Chiefs football. So if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like what I do here or appreciate it, consider hitting the like button because it really does help me out as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. This is a weekly series where we will be looking rookie by rookie at what happened this week for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to start with the offensive players as this was an offensive-heavy draft. Obviously, Kingsley Suamataia played 54 offensive snaps for the Chiefs, not the full array of snaps in this game as he was benched towards the end of it, but he also added 4 special teams snaps. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go through this game, then we're going to go through the season. I don't know why I can't talk right now. We're going to go through the season, and then we will have conclusions based on previous Chiefs performances. So we're going to be comparing, for example, Xavier Worthy to Rashee Rice from last year because some of those comparisons are pretty stunning. So Xavier Worthy played 44 offensive snaps in this game. Still, no special teams for Xavier Worthy. Carson Steele had 14 offensive snaps and 9 special teams snaps. A number of offensive snaps, 14, that I think we are likely to see doubled or tripled in this upcoming game. And Jared Wiley, of course, very little play once again with 12 offensive snaps and still no special teams. Now, the rookies played 176 offensive snaps. There were 715 total offensive snaps, meaning that the offense was 17.6% rookie by volume. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, where but one player, Jaden Hicks, held up the torch for this rookie class on the football field. 5 defensive snaps for Jaden Hicks, a step up certainly from week 1 where he had 0 defensive snaps, but still not a whole lot. However, 22 special teams snaps. Jaden Hicks continues to lead the way on special teams, meaning that there were 5 defensive snaps from rookies, 704 total defensive snaps, meaning that the defense was 0.7% rookie by volume, and I think that might even be 0.07. I think I may have done the math wrong there. I'm no math guy. Now, on special teams, Christian Roland Wallace, the undrafted safety/cornerback type guy out of USC, played 15 special teams snaps, and Hunter Nourzad played 4 special team snaps. Ethan Driscoll and CJ Hansen were among those players not dressed for the game. So, in conclusion on the game, 7 rookies saw the field. 5 of those rookies played on regular teams, 5 played on special teams, and 2 of them, Christian Roland Wallace and Hunter Nourzad, saw only special teams action. So, zooming out just a little bit, what has this rookie class done so far for the Kansas City Chiefs? Kingsley Suamataia, 2 games, 2 starts, 108 offensive snaps, and 9 special teams snaps. Will Kingsley Suamataia continue to start for the Kansas City Chiefs? That much is yet to be seen. I don't know that it makes too much of a difference as far as how the Chiefs actually feel about the player. Sometimes you will notice that a player is rolled out onto the field early in their rookie season in order to fail, so long as they do not fail too spectacularly and cost the team a win. But then you pull that player off the field if you have a capable backup, and I think the Chiefs do in Wanya Morris, and you let that player have a couple weeks to mend his wounds and his pride and figure out some of the things that were holding him up. Constantly being thrown into the fire is something that we have seen the NFL sort of really take to heart when talking about quarterbacks, even though the past couple of seasons we have seen many teams decide, that's all hoopla, and throw their rookie quarterbacks out there to get absolutely hogwashed. So I am not sure whether or not Kingsley Suamataia will immediately return to the starting lineup. I think yes, but I don't know. I don't have strong indications one way or another on this. And even if he is pulled off of the field for a week or two and Wanya Morris is given that start, I don't know that it really should be too concerning for Chiefs fans, so long as Kingsley is able to rebound from that from a pride perspective. Xavier Worthy has played 78 offensive snaps, no special team snaps. That is a little bit surprising to me. I was hoping Xavier Worthy would be more of a contributor on punt returns. He has so far this season, and we're going to get back to this a little bit later as well, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 64 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 rushing attempts, 26 yards, and a touchdown rushing as well, despite the fact that he had a very weak performance against the Bengals. Still, not a bad place to be through 2 weeks of your rookie season. Carson Steele, 19 offensive snaps, 25 special team snaps, 9 attempts, and 27 yards so far through the young season. You will note that his number of snaps is only twice his number of carries. If Carson Steele to this point has been on the field, it has been essentially to run the football. That is something that teams will start to pick up on if Carson Steele is not afforded more playing time anyway. But in light of the Isaiah Pacheco injury, I think that Carson Steele is likely to find himself the benefactor of much playing time this weekend, at least as the Chiefs figure out what they want to do at the running back position. Is Samaje Perine going to be able to step up and take more of a role? Will Kareem Hunt be on the active roster? All of these sorts of things. Jared Wiley threw 2 games, 23 offensive snaps, 1 target, 1 reception, 7 yards. Not off to quite a sizzling start, but then again, neither is Travis Kelce. So it is going to be an interesting season as far as the tight ends are concerned this year, because you hate to say it, and I do hate to say it, Travis Kelce didn't look himself through most of the regular season last year at all. We remember that much. Still had almost 1,000 yards. Still would have had 1,000 yards had he came out for the final week of the season. Still did not look like Travis Kelce until the playoffs. And here we are through 2 weeks of this year, meaning that for most of the time, for over a calendar year, Travis Kelce has not been Travis Kelce. So where do we find ourselves with the tight ends for the Kansas City Chiefs? What is going on with my eye? And do they have a player that is able to take some of the heat this year and maybe the baton going forward? That much is yet to be seen, but Noah Gray was awarded a pretty hefty contract. Then we have Jaden Hicks, who has, through the season, 5 defensive snaps, 43 special team snaps, and but a single tackle. Now, again, much like we talked about earlier with Kingsley Suamataia, I'm not sure there's anything to really be concerned about with Jaden Hicks. I think that what we're going to be getting here is just a little bit of adjustment period for Jaden Hicks. We have to also give credence to the fact that with the Ravens and the Bengals, these were 2 of the scarier offenses that the Chiefs were likely to see coming into the season. Now, that much might not be actually true, but the game plans would have called for these two teams to have been certainly more devastating to the Chiefs' defense than they had been. So it does kind of make sense that Jaden Hicks was left on the sideline, at least for the first 2 weeks of the year. I do think that we are likely to see a whole lot more from him in the future, probably the not too distant future. Now we have some spotlights where we're going to talk about Chiefs rookies this year compared to Chiefs rookies of the past to see what are we looking at as far as this rookie class goes. And I have actually a talking point on the Xavier Worthy comparison that I think is interesting, if not compelling. Xavier Worthy versus Rashee Rice through 2 weeks of their rookie seasons. Xavier Worthy has 78 snaps, 7 targets, 78 offensive snaps, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Rashee Rice, in his rookie season through 2 games, had 32 snaps compared to Xavier Worthy's 78. That is 56, pardon me, again, not the math guy, 56, 46, not the math guy, 46 more snaps through 2 weeks than did Rashee Rice. 7 targets, the same amount of targets. 5 receptions, 1 more reception than Xavier Worthy had. However, Xavier Worthy has 64 yards compared to the 49 had by Rashee Rice. That is what you would expect from a deep threat player like Xavier Worthy, and they both have a single touchdown. Rashee Rice and is not going to bring to the rushing attempts what it is that Xavier Worthy does. But if you look at these numbers, the one place where it really stands out is not an official stat. It is the offensive snap count. Xavier Worthy with 78 offensive snaps compared to Rashee Rice's 32. Why do I think that is A, happening, and B, compelling? Through 2 games of his rookie season, Xavier Worthy has a role in this offense. You know what Xavier has been brought in to do. Xavier Worthy has been brought in to take the top off the defense. Xavier Worthy has decoy routes. I don't know that Rashee Rice did at this point in his rookie season. Xavier Worthy has jet sweep motions. I don't remember there being too terribly many jet sweep motions with Rashee Rice through 2 games. Xavier Worthy is a focal point of this offense. This is something that we're going to see pay off later in the season as Xavier Worthy is less predictable than was Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice ended up having to carve a niche out in this offense by having receptions at the line of scrimmage and receptions not very far past the line of scrimmage. Xavier Worthy so far is multivalent in this offense. Xavier Worthy has an actual role. At this point in his rookie season, Rashee Rice was just rotating through the lineup. There was no Rashee Rice game plan. That didn't develop until later. So it is heartening, in my opinion, to see so much focus on Xavier Worthy through 2 weeks. Obviously, Rashee Rice was a second-round pick. Xavier Worthy, the Chiefs traded up to 28 with the Buffalo Bills in order to draft him. So it does make sense that he would be more of a focal point of this offense, but it's also nice to have immediate feedback on the fact that he is being more productive in his rookie season through 2 games than either Felix Enudike-Uzomah or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The next rookie with whom we're going to make a comparison, and then we have one more down here, Kingsley Suamataia versus Wanya Morris versus Trey Smith. Through 2 games, Kingsley Suamataia has 108 offensive snaps. Wanya Morris had 339 offensive snaps through his entire rookie season, meaning that Kingsley Suamataia has 32% of the entire season had by Wanya Morris through just 2 weeks of the year, which is to say there are 15 weeks for Kingsley Suamataia to collect the 231 snaps that separate him from Wanya Morris's rookie year in order to have a better rookie season. I think that is pretty much in the bag. But Trey Smith is another story. Trey Smith started every game of his rookie season, 116 reps through the first 2 games of 2021. Kingsley Suamataia, I believe, would have played 118. I believe he came off the field for 10 reps in that Bengals game, so he would have played slightly more football than Trey Smith through the first 2 weeks. Things worked out pretty well for Trey Smith. So the reason I'm doing this is to say, what are we looking at with these players? So Xavier Worthy is on a hotter pace than was Rashee Rice. We can expect maybe at this point, a little bit of a hotter pace, plenty more yards, 15 more yards, a whole lot more snaps, and then we have the same number of targets and 1 fewer reception than Rashee Rice. So if we are to judge a player's rookie season, a wide receiver's rookie season based on Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy looks to be having a better rookie year. At least that is how it looks at this point. Kingsley Suamataia is looking to have a rookie season on par with Trey Smith at this point, so long as he does return to the starting lineup. Trey Smith was an absolute Iron Man for the Kansas City Chiefs, even as a rookie, as was Creed Humphrey. But I decided to compare him to Trey Smith as opposed to Creed Humphrey because the center position is just enough different that it's kind of weird to compare an offensive tackle to a center. But if we are looking at previous experience with the Kansas City Chiefs, Kingsley Suamataia is on great pace for his rookie year. And finally, Jaden Hicks. It's easy, I think, to look at the first 2 games of the season and be disappointed with Jaden Hicks, or at least Jaden Hicks' playing time, compared to what it was that we saw in the preseason and the extremely high hopes that we had developed about that player going into the year. However, towards the end of last year, and especially in the playoffs, Chamarri Conner really started to ascend on the Chiefs' defense and take a place coming into this year. Before that, the coaches had spoken highly of him, but we didn't really get a whole lot of Chamarri Conner on Sundays. Through 2 games of his rookie season, Jaden Hicks has 5 defensive snaps. That sounds like nothing. Chamarri Conner, by this point, had 13. Now, yeah, it's about 3 times as many, but it's only 8 more snaps. So it's not like that is a huge difference. Now, Jaden Hicks is being rolled out there a little more often for special teams, but when you look back at what special teams is he on, how many times have they been on the field, probably it is not that those 4 snaps more that Jaden Hicks has played of special teams than had Chamarri Conner. That is probably not because the Chiefs coaching staff is trusting him more than Chamarri Conner. It's probably just that they haven't had that many times to roll out the punt team, etc. Through 2 games of his rookie season, Jaden Hicks has 1 tackle. Chamarri Conner was in on 2. So there is not a whole lot of breathing space between these 2 players either. I think that what the Chiefs have in Jaden Hicks and Chamarri Conner is their starting safety pair of the future. When you factor in Brian Cook, it seems that the Chiefs have a bunch of stud young safeties that are going to provide the backbone of this defense for quite some time. How much of that is going to affect future drafts? That is an interesting question looking at this rookie class. The Kansas City Chiefs have been long pressed trying to find a left tackle because when you draft 29th, 30th, 31st, 32nd every year, it's difficult to find a left tackle, especially if you are a little bit cash-strapped because you have the greatest football player in the history of sport. Now, being able to find a potential starting left tackle in the second round would be massive for the Chiefs. When you look at the offensive line, you now have Creed Humphrey wrapped up long-term. Juwan Taylor has a few more years left. Joe Thuney has a few more years left if he's willing to play them, and if the Chiefs don't decide to cut bait with that contract. Trey Smith is on his final year of the contract. Wanye Morris is in year 2 of 4. Kingsley Suamataia is in year 1 of 4. If the Kansas City Chiefs were able to re-sign Trey Smith or figure out that they wanted, for example, Wanye Morris at that starting right guard position, Kingsley at the left tackle, etc., this could be a draft where they could afford to skip the offensive line position, meaning that half of their offense could be neglected for a round of the draft. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of taking at least one offensive lineman in every draft, but not doing so here would free up a whole lot of mental space for this Chiefs coaching staff, scouting department, and the same can be said almost for the defensive backs. That's another half of your starting lineup. The Chiefs, depending on what happens with this rookie class and what holes develop on this team through the season, the Chiefs could be in position to really hone in on certain positions in this upcoming draft, or players if it is the player that strikes the scouting department's fancy. Meaning, hey, we've got an extra third-round pick from the L'Jarius Sneed trade, meaning we have 2/3, a second, and a first. Say we wanted to get up into the top 20 as opposed to, 32. What would that take? There is a player that falls to 20 the way that Trent McDuffie did, and Brett Veach looks at him and says, this is a definitive starter, maybe all-pro in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs at that point can afford to trade up for him. If Kingsley pans out, if Jaden Hicks is an actual starter on defense, if Xavier Worthy really is the guy, because the Kansas City Chiefs signed Hollywood Brown, they're not going to have him. If Xavier Worthy is a starting wide receiver in the NFL, you have 2 starting wide receivers in Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. You don't have to invest a pick at the spot, at least not very high in the draft. Or if you do, it could be one of these situations where Luther Burden falls to 15 and the Chiefs have the ammo to move up. Then you have 3 legitimate wide receivers on the Kansas City Chiefs. Bada bing, bada boom. You become a very dangerous offense once again. So those 3 players have to pan out. Those 3 players are going to, Ozzie Newsome said, I say this all the time on the channel, Ozzie Newsome said, if you can get 3 starters in every draft, you're going to do all right. Those would be the 3 starters. You picked up a rookie running back through the ranks of the undrafted in Carson Steele, who, if he's forced into the starting lineup, will at least know whether or not he has the juice to be a starter. Jared Wiley, in my opinion, I'm holding out the fact that he could be a contributor. What do you have between Hunter Nourzad, CJ Hansen, and Ethan Driscoll? Between those 3 guys, do you have one that could start in the future? You start looking at all of these things adding up, and the coming NFL draft could be a very interesting one from the standpoint of Brett Veach wanting to trade up, be aggressive, and get his targets. That is all I have for this video. The rookie recap for week 2 of the NFL season. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.